Hey, what's up everybody? Pat Flynn here, and welcome to episode 12 of SPI TV. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're finishing off Mastermind month here on SPI TV by talking about the importance of how to make the most of your hot seat. A lot of us make a lot of mistakes when we go into mastermind groups, and we might not be doing what we can to optimize our time while we are in our hot seat. So make sure to pay attention, because this could be the difference between an amazing, successful business and one where you're just sort of Now, the reason I said meh right there before the bumper was because sometimes that's how we approach our mastermind sessions. And when we're coming up in our hot seat, you have to understand exactly what you're going to present to the rest of the group. That's your time to share something and get direct feedback from people who are going to give you brutally honest advice to help you take your business to the next level. Sometimes my hoverboards just turn on their own. Down, hoverboard. So next I'm going to give you 7 tips to make sure you get the most out of your time in your hot seat for your mastermind sessions. So tip number 1 is to prepare ahead of time, obviously, but along those same lines, you got to pick something that's going on. And we all have a million things that are going on. So how do we know what to talk about when it's our turn in the hot seat? Well, my best advice to you would be to make sure you choose the one that's going to give you the most bang for your buck, or the time that you spend in there. So what's the one thing that you're working on that's going to make the biggest impact for you and your business? Perhaps it's the one thing that you are most scared about. Talk about that. This is your time and place to do that. Tip number 2, this might sound kind of funny because you're just on a call with some friends and colleagues, but practice your pitch. Practice what you're gonna say. Get in front of a mirror or get on a call or even record yourself. I mean, this is how serious you have to take your time in the mastermind group. So practice what you're gonna say, how you're gonna present what you're up to, what you need help with, and that call to action that you're gonna share in terms of what people can help you with. Tip number 3 is to ask specific questions. Oftentimes myself and other people in other mastermind groups I'm in will present their ideas or their concerns or their struggles, and then they'll finish off by saying, so what do you guys think? That's not the best way to approach your time in the hot seat. You want to have specific questions to ask everybody in the group. So you might say, for example, how much would you price my product based on what I just said? Something specific like that can give you concrete answers and give some direction to people who are still trying to wrap their head around exactly what your problems are. Tip number 4. Now, sometimes in mastermind groups, somebody might get on a topic where they start to talk a lot about something. And there might be one person who seems to just crank out all this amazing advice to you, and that's great. Of course, you want to thank that person, but you want to get everybody else's opinion too. So when you are in the hot seat, you have every right to ask every single individual for their opinion on something. You can even say beforehand, and I know a lot of people who do this really well, you might say, well, I want to get from each of you what you think about this. So John, what do you think? Kate, how about you? Todd, how about you? That will help take your business to the next level because you're getting all these different viewpoints, and seriously, there's no reason not to do that. All right, and tip number 5, record your time in the hot seat. Actually, the whole group would want to do this for their own hot seat because these are so beneficial to you. Because one of the biggest mistakes you could make is actually concentrating on your notes. When everybody else is talking and giving you advice, you're going to get behind, you're going to get stressed, you're going to leave out some things. When you record the session, and again, you want to just make sure everybody's okay with that, you're going to pull out so much great information on that second listen through. You can pause, take notes from there, and move forward. Now, I will say that in episode 155 of the Smart Passive Income podcast, I actually play a recording from one of my own mastermind sessions. So you'll want to check that out, and you can get a real life example of what it's like in one of these mastermind groups. So again, that's episode 155 of the Smart Passive Income podcast. Check that out. Tip number 6 is related to what happens at the end of your hot seat, and that is involving your next steps. It's obviously important for you to understand what your next steps are, and I would recommend going, again, round robin to every single person, asking them what their next steps would be if they were in your shoes. But it's also really important to cover this because you're going to understand what to do next, but your other group members are going to understand what you are doing next too, and that's important so they can hold you accountable. They're going to have an idea of what it is that you're up to, and they're going to come back at you and see if you did those things. That's going to motivate you to do them so you don't let them down, but they're also going to be there to help you to make sure that you actually do follow through. And the last tip, tip number 7 for you, which is probably the most important, but also the one that most people don't do, and that is actually do the things that everybody talked about for you in your hot seat. Actually put into action what those next steps are. And that's really important because obviously you can't get to the next level if you don't do that. But more importantly, and think about this, if you don't take action on everything that was just talked about, you're not only wasting your own time, you're wasting the time of everybody else there who was there to help you move forward. And if you don't do that, maybe you don't belong in the group. So take action, make everybody proud, and then bring that win to you next week when you get on the call again. My call to action for you today is this. Head on over to smartpassiveincome.com/community. That'll redirect you to my Facebook page. There are thousands of people there, many completely active, helping each other out, asking great questions, leaving great feedback. Go in there and share that you listened or watched this episode and talk about what you are going to talk about in your next mastermind group. And the reason why I want to do this is because I'm sure the community will get involved and help you out and just give you a taste of what it's really like to be in a mastermind group. And perhaps you might find some people there to connect with and actually form a mastermind group with too. So again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/community. Just click to join. I will approve you as soon as I can, or one of the other admins will too. And if you're watching this on iTunes, awesome. Thank you so much. You can head on over to watch SPI TV and check out episode 12 to leave comments on the blog there. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, awesome. Thank you so much again. Subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.